Alli. I am a nutritionist and a yoga teacher and the author of the Smoothie Book. And I'm here to talk to you every week about nutrition topics. This week is all about celery. We're going to talk about the background, the history, the uses of celery, lots of different uses, health benefits, and we're going to make a celery cilantro cocktail, which I'm so excited about making that we're going to make it halfway through so I can sip on it during the show. So, welcome to the show. So excited to have you here. So excited to talk about celery. I'm going to take a quick drink of my water. Excuse me. I had something in my throat. Okay, so as usual, please put any questions or comments down in the chat. I love having a conversation during the show. So please join the conversation. And I put the recipe in the chat already, but sometimes people tell me they can't see it if I put it in before the show. So I'm going to copy and paste it in there again, so maybe you can see it now. So if you can or cannot see it, let me know. I want to know if that method works. So, hope everybody's having a good day. Hope everybody's thirsty because I think this is going to be a really interesting cocktail. Let's talk celery, and then we'll make some cocktails, and then we'll talk health benefits. So, what is celery? I always like to look at the dictionary to see what it says, the definition is, because I think that's kind of fun. So the definition of celery is a cultivated plant in the parsley family with closely packed succulent leaves and stalks that are eaten raw or cooked. That is celery. And we all know celery. We eat it as kids, put the peanut butter on it, the raisins. I still love eating that as a snack. Now cocktails, all kinds of different uses for the celery. So, a little bit of background. Celery comes from the Apiaceae family, which is the same as the parsley family. And it's been cultivated for a very long time. It has long fibrous stalks, which we know, and leaves at the top. We're going to go over the details of that in a little bit. But the leaves, the stalk, and the root can all be eaten. Celery seeds can also be eaten as well, and also used for essential oils. We'll get into that as well. So, yes, so celery seeds can be used as an extract for the oils, that can be used in herbal medicine. So, uses. Excuse me, I'm going to take another drink of my water. All of a sudden, I just got something in my throat. Oops. That is not my water. That was the empty glass. Okay. So, uses. Originally, celery comes from the Mediterranean region and also from the Middle East. But of course, it's spread all over the world now. We're eating it in the United States a lot. It was used for flavoring by the ancient Greeks and Romans and also in Chinese medicine in ancient times. Books from the medieval times, I thought this was really cool, said that celery was used for controlling hysteria, soothing nerves, and promoting restful sleep. So lots of magical stuff with celery in ancient times. But now we eat it we mostly just eat the stalks, sometimes the leaves, sometimes the roots, and it's mostly just used in a culinary purpose. But maybe it has all these secret things that are doing good things for us as well. So it's in a lot of different vegetable mixes. So in Louisiana, in Creole and Cajun cuisine, the Holy Trinity, which is a mix of celery, onions, and red bell pepper, or bell peppers, that's used in a lot of different recipes in Louisiana, and that's called the Holy Trinity. I asked our neighbors about that, and they used to live in Louisiana, and they confirmed, yes, that is true. And in French cuisine, the mirepoix is celery, onions, and carrots chopped very small, and that's used in a lot of things like soups and stews and sauces. That's integral for the French mirepoix. And yes, so we eat it raw, we eat it cooked. It goes in so many different things. You can put it in smoothies. In my smoothie book, I have a recipe for celery juice that you make in the blender. For those of you that don't have a juicer or just don't want, just don't want to use a juicer. Sometimes I just don't want to pull the juicer out just to make celery juice, so I'll make it in the blender. It's so easy, so easy. You blend celery and water. You can do lime juice if you want, and then you strain it. Super easy, and it's like fluorescent green juice, and it is so good. So anyway, we can use celery to make celery juice, either in a juicer or in smoothies, and also great for stir fries, great for soups, great in fried rice. I like to put it in fried rice, make it into tiny little cubes, or other juice blends as well. And let's see, so that's kind of what we use the stalks for. Now we'll go into all the other components of celery. Celery leaves. So all celery, basically when we get it, has these little leaves on top. Eat them or use them in cooking, because we're going to talk about this later, but that's where a lot of the nutrients are found. I'm going to tell you which ones later, so stay tuned. But the leaves, they are pretty bitter. So a lot of times we don't use them, but they can be great for making broths or stocks or added to soups. Even if you chop them really small, put it in your stir fry or fried rice. It's a great way to use the whole plant. So eat the leaves. Celery seeds, they have the essential oil in them, and that has been used in the perfume industry. Also, the oil contains a compound called apiol, and also the seeds can be used for flavorings or for spices, and you can have them whole or ground. I never really cooked with them, but I thought that was interesting. Celeriac, which is also called celery root. It's also called knob celery, also called turnip rooted celery. It's a variety of celery that's cultivated to eat the root and the edible stem and the shoots. It's a root vegetable. It's really similar to root vegetables, except that it has this bulbous stem and a lot of little small roots that come out of it. And that, I looked, there's so many different recipes for celeriac. You can use it for soup. You can make like mashed celeriac, so it's kind of like mashed potatoes. So many different, there's an egg dish that you could use it in. So lots of different uses for celeriac. I've never cooked with it, but I would like to try that. Celery salt is also another version of celery. So basically they take the dried leaves, or what else do they make it from? Or the roots, and they dry them and then puree them and mix that with salt. And it's used as a great seasoning. Bloody Mary mix around the rim of the Bloody Mary glass. That's kind of the classic way to use it, but you can use it in other capacities as well, like broths, soups, things like that. Super good. Super good. Let's see. Oh yeah, and also it's the celery salt, back to the celery salt. It's also found in Old Bay seasoning, so kind of that same Louisiana Creole flavor, and Chicago-style hot dogs, which I didn't know about that. So maybe the onions or something? That I have to look that one up. So that's pretty cool. And celery seeds have also been used in Eastern herbal traditions, such as the Ayurvedic medicine, for different things. And like we said before, celery juice is great. There are a lot of believers out there that it is like the detox beverage of the day. And that some people think that you should have it right away in the morning and not have anything else for at least a half an hour. Or some people say you can have coffee with it. But all this trend started with this medical medium named Anthony William. He put out this information. I think it was the late 90s, I think. So A lot of people believe in that and do it every day. I've tried it just to see what it tastes like and see how I feel. But yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. But it is really good, and you feel really refreshed. So, if anything, it's a refreshing beverage. So, let's make a cocktail. Sound good? Okay. This cocktail is called, I have it on the wall, Celery Cilantro Cocktail. I also have it in our chat, and you can find it on relish.com. It is the person that did it, it was from the Skinny Taste website. She has lots of really good recipes. So I figured, let's make this cocktail. I have the ice out already too. That's another reason I'm going to start making it now. Then I'll sip on a cocktail. We'll talk health benefits of celery. Okay, so there were a couple of things I did in advance, just so we didn't have to wait on the show. One is that I made simple syrup, because it calls for simple syrup. So I used the raw sugar and the turbinado sugar. I did 1/4 of a cup of sugar, 1/4 of a cup of water. I boiled it, not very long, just until the sugar starts to dissolve. But the nice thing about the turbinado sugar is that it makes a really pretty, brown syrup instead of like the clear, traditional simple syrup. So that's kind of fun. So I already made this, and now it's cool. It's actually, our house must be cold because it has definitely cooled to room temperature, and it's a little bit chilly. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. So we're gonna I put the ice cubes in the shaker just so that they can stay cold while I talked in the beginning. But we have a cocktail glass full of ice. Okay. And then we are going to, it said a 5-inch piece of celery. So that looks about right. I'm going to cut it up because we're going to muddle it. I'm going to cut it up into small pieces so it just makes it easier. Because I don't really have an official muddler. That's something else I was going to say. Use anything in your kitchen that like has a bottom to it that you can just easily smash into a cocktail shaker. This is actually a zester, but it has a good bottom. But anything. But a muddler would be ideal. It would be ideal. Okay, I just don't have one. I will have to remember that. Okay, so I chopped the celery, put it inside the cocktail glass. Then it calls for 1/4 of a cup of fresh cilantro. So I've got the fresh cilantro. You know how I always talk about I store it in a glass of water. All right, so it doesn't have to be super chopped because we're going to be muddling it. So this is about 1/4 of a cup. Actually, I'm going to put a little bit. That's probably right. Okay. 1/4 of a cup chopped. You can't really see that. Oh yeah, it's pretty dark. Okay, then an ounce. It calls for absolute citron. I didn't have absolute citron, so I'm just using straight up vodka. I think it's going to be just as good. It says 1 ounce. I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to do 1 ounce and a half. 1.5 ounces. Okay, yum. And next, it calls for 2 tablespoons of simple syrup, which is 1 ounce. I'm going to do half that. I don't want it super sweet. So I'm going to spoon that into here just so we have an accurate amount. Okay, let's see. That's 1/4 of an ounce. 2 teaspoons. Okay, so 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So we're going to do 3 teaspoons. It calls for 2 tablespoons, so that's 6 teaspoons, but we're going to do 3. Okay, 3 teaspoons. And 3 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lime juice. I wanted to do the official squeezing on the show. So, we've got our lime. I'm going to cut it in half. And we've got our lime juicer, or we like to call it a lime squeezer. And I'm just going to assume that 1 lime is going to be about 3 tablespoons. All right. Then, that is it. And then we muddle it all together. So, It would be ideal to have a muddler, but this is fine. So the tables, actually, I'm going to turn this computer down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, so muddling is just when you're pressing all the ingredients together, you're kind of breaking things down a little bit. So we're breaking down the celery, we're breaking down the cilantro, we're kind of mixing everything with that lime juice. And here we go. You know, I feel like it's going to taste really good if we just let it sit in there for a little bit, so to kind of let that lime juice extract the celery flavor and the cilantro flavor. So, here we go. I wish I could share this with you. It smells really, really good. Take a sniff. It smells really, really fresh. Okay. So, this is a pretty easy cocktail. So we have our glass of ice, and then we use a fine mesh strainer. So I just have, this is a pretty big one for cocktails. You can use smaller if you have it. This is what we have at our house. All right. And then we pour it through the strainer into our cocktail glass so that none of the herbs or vegetable actually get into the cocktail. So everything is in here. Yum. I think this is going to be good. And then you top it off with sparkling water. We have a little soda stream at our house. Oh yeah, there are little pieces of cilantro inside. This is going to be delicious. This is a little bit darker than probably the other versions are, just because of the simple syrup. Okay, because of the simple syrup I made. All right, let's see. Let's give it a taste. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. It's kind of like, you know how gin and tonics are super refreshing, or mojitos are super refreshing. This is just kind of a different herbal version, and it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I really recommend it. Okay, so let's talk about the health benefits of celery. Okay, so celery is actually really rich in a lot of vitamins, minerals, and is low in the glycemic index. So that's one category. I'm going to give you 10 different health benefits of celery. This is just one. This is number one. So celery has vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C. Those are the vitamins. For the minerals, it has potassium and folate. Interesting. Folate, I think that's more of a vitamin, but that's cool. It's low in sodium, so that's good for blood pressure. And it's low in the glycemic index. So if you're looking at your carbohydrates, if you have diabetes or just interested in your carbohydrates, the lower the number for the glycemic index is 0 to 100, the better for your blood sugar. So celery is low in the glycemic index, so it's not going to make your blood sugar spike, even though it is a vegetable and a fruit, you know. Or not a fruit, you know what I mean, vegetable. So, so that's good. That's really good. So number 2, celery may help reduce inflammation. That's always a good thing. There is a certain phytochemical in celery, and it's called apigenin. And in Chinese medicine, that plays a role as an anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, antiviral, and antioxidant. So that's really good. And we know chronic inflammation is not good for us. It can lead to different disease states like arthritis, osteoporosis, heart disease, things like that. So the more antioxidants, anti-inflammatories we eat, the better. Celery is one of them, so that's good. Number 3, celery is high in, it's a good source of antioxidants. Like we said before, it has vitamin C, it has vitamin A, it has beta-carotene, it has flavonoids. We know antioxidants are good because of all these free radicals. They can put oxidative stress and damage on our bodies and our cells. So we don't want that. We don't want that. So the more antioxidants we can get from our food, the better. So why not have it from things like celery? Such a good snack too, and cocktail, but such a good snack and a good addition to recipes and all that. Number 4, celery supports our digestion. So many different reasons that it does this. I'm so excited. This was my favorite section. We have 4 bullet points as to why it helps our digestion. So, and being an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory, that automatically helps our digestion because it has lots of good nutrients in it. But it also may help our stomach as well, the lining of our stomach. And there are some polysaccharides, some forms of carbohydrate that are in celery. They are pectin-based, and that has a compound in it that can help decrease the chances of stomach ulcers and improve the lining of the stomach. Celery is also very hydrating, so this is all still in good for our digestion. It's 95% water, so that helps things move through our body, keeps us hydrated. That's great. And celery is a good source of fiber, soluble and insoluble. A cup of celery sticks has about 5 grams of fiber, which is really a really good amount. And so lots of good reasons for our digestion to have celery. And if you're interested in the alkaline diet, this is number 5. I did a whole episode on the alkaline diet. Check it out on my YouTube playlist because it's a very interesting perspective on food. So basically the concept is they're acidic foods and they're alkaline foods or alkalizing foods. And the diet suggests that we should be eating more alkaline foods because we eat a lot of acidic foods naturally. So anyway, celery is alkalizing. So that can counterbalance the effect of acidic foods. So if that's your thing, that's pretty interesting. They think it's because the magnesium and the iron and the potassium in it can help with that. So that's interesting. That is interesting. Celery may help prevent cancer. So in addition to it being loaded with antioxidants, it has a lot of other really good things in it. Flavonoids, the vitamin C, all this, and that can help with the oxidative stress, which could help prevent us from getting cancer because it's getting rid of all those free radicals, the inflammation, all of that. So that's what they say. There's some studies out there that suggest that. Celery may also help with blood pressure. Like we talked about before, it's super low in sodium. It's high in potassium. They say that balance is really good. When the potassium is high, sodium is low. That's good for our blood pressure because it helps relax the artery walls in our tissues and in our lungs, helps with good blood flow, and it may help lower our blood pressure. There was a study done where people were given celery seed extract and their blood pressure went down from that. So also in Chinese medicine, celery and celery extracts are used to help with blood pressure as well. So something good to keep in mind. Number 8, celery may help prevent and treat Alzheimer's disease. This is interesting. There has been some research done using celery seed extract to improve the brain cognition and memory, and that could be really helpful in treating and preventing Alzheimer's. So more research needs to be done on that, but it's a good start. Pretty easily done, so that was interesting. So number 9, celery may also help reduce cholesterol, particularly the bad cholesterol, the LDL, the numbers that we want to go down. So they say, it could be for a lot of different reasons, maybe because it's high in fiber and that's good for our cholesterol. But there was a study done on animals where they ate a diet with celery and a high fiber diet, and it helped reduce cholesterol. So that could be helpful. Number 10, celery may help with our memory, which is great. There was a study done where they also gave animals apigenin, that compound that's in celery, and found that it stimulated nerve cell generation and improved their ability to learn and remember. So I liked that. I could definitely use that too. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah, so lots of good things. 10 reasons that celery is good for us. I'm going to take a sip. Mm-hmm. It smells very summery. If you don't like cilantro, you might not like it, but if you do like cilantro, it's really, really good. You could also put mint. I think that might be really good. Or parsley, or just skip the herbs and just do celery. So, is there a risk with consuming celery? Pretty low risk. It's a pretty hearty vegetable. The only issue is some people might have an allergic reaction to celery. So some of those symptoms might be hives or swelling, difficulty breathing. If any of those happen to you, contact your doctor, go to the ER, especially if you're having trouble breathing. But yeah, some people might be allergic to celery. So most people aren't, but it could happen. And if you do find that you are, just make sure you read labels of other things like broths and things like that, because a lot of times celery is in there. And other risk is just that it's kind of high on the list of vegetables that hold on to pesticides. So if you are buying your celery, regular celery, just make sure you wash it really, really well, to get the pesticides and the dirt and all of that off. Or buy organic, because the organic vegetables aren't going to have the pesticides on them. Still wash them though really well. Because yeah, celery gets, especially in like the bottom part, it gets dirty pretty easily. It's hard to get that out. So you just break off the stalks and wash them really well before you eat. So what is the best way to buy celery and store celery? So celery, when you buy it, you definitely want the stalks to be really sturdy. So you don't want them to be wiggly or bendy. It happens sometimes in our vegetable drawer, and that's fine. You can just chop those and use them for cooking or smoothies or juice. But when you buy them, make sure they're still very sturdy and make sure the leaves are green. These are turning a little bit yellow, but make sure they're green and that they look like sturdy and strong, not wilted. And that's where you find a lot of the nutrients. Like I said before, I tell you now, that's where some calcium, potassium, and vitamin C are found, are in the leaves. So eat them or put them in something. They are pretty strong, so you just put them in a stir fry. You probably won't even taste them. And they say, this is interesting, they say, I pretty much usually keep them like this. They say not to chop them until you're going to use it because it might lose some of the nutrients. But, if chopping them and cutting them into little pieces is the best way for you to consume them, then I say go ahead and do it. Because it's all about what is the easiest way for you to buy them, prepare them so that you'll eat them. So if chopping them beforehand works for you, I still think that's going to be healthy for you. If you're just going to be using them for cooking, might as well just keep it on, keep it intact. Keep it intact. So there we go. That's it, everybody. I hope you make this cocktail because it is really, really good. And you can make it a mocktail. You don't have to put the vodka in. And it's still going to be really refreshing. So thank you all so much for joining the show. Go buy your celery. Have it as a snack. Make a smoothie. Make juice. Make some stir fry. Make a cocktail. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining in this episode. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Have a great night. Talk to you all soon. Cheers.